Hey everyone, my name's Kaylee, and today we're going to talk about how nuclear fission is basically just a giant food fight. So let's get started. Now, we all remember when we were in middle school, high school, and even elementary school, we used to sit at our little seats at each of our little tables in the cafeteria, right? So we have little people sitting at each seat in each row, in the cafeteria. So we're going to pretend that each row is like a fuel rod, right? So when we're looking at the actual fuel assembly here, we've got little pellets, right, inside this one big long individual fuel rod. So we're going to pretend these pellets are like people sitting on a bench inside our reactor inside a cafeteria. So typically you have pellets inside this shell that we call cladding, inside a fuel assembly that we call a reactor, but we're going to call this assembly a cafeteria, right? And each of these rods is going to be a table or a table bench specifically, right? So this is going to be a fuel rod. This is going to be a rod, and our people are going to be our fuel pellets, okay? So everybody's sitting in the cafeteria. Let's go down here. We've got some tables here, right? So we've got people sitting in each of these seats, and let's make this white so we can just we've got people in all of these seats, and they're happy and they're having a great time and just kind of enjoying their lunch, right? And let's say that for today's lunch, it was spaghetti and meatballs. Okay, so we're gonna start with, let's call this guy here, let's call him Jerry. And Jerry thinks it's gonna be super, super funny. He's the class clown, right? And he thinks it's gonna be hysterical if he throws a meatball. Let's get a saucy. That looks saucy, right? Can you see that okay? This is his meatball, right? And he thinks it's going to be hysterical if he throws a meatball at Ted. Let's call this Ted, right? Because this is middle school. We have the boys at one table and the girls at another, right? So he thinks it's going to be so, so funny if he throws a meatball at Ted. But little does he know that Ted is trying to impress Casey over here. And Ted is trying to look really, really good for Casey because he wants to ask her to play at recess. He's got a little crush on Casey. So when Jerry hits Ted with a meatball, Ted gets really, really angry. He is really, really mad. He's like, dude, why did you do that? And Ted gets so mad that he decides, so first he's got a couple clouds. He's got like two little clouds of steam coming out of his ears. Okay, I guess his ears are this way. He's so mad. He's got like steam shooting out of his ears, in the cartoon characters, and he's just like, ah. So that steam splits out two ways, almost like he's splitting in half. Wink, wink. And he's going to be so angry that he's going to take 3 meatballs and he's going to throw all 3 of them across the cafeteria. So he's going to throw one at, let's say, Devin over here. Devin. And he's going to throw one at Bill here, right? And then he's accidentally going to hit Jennifer over here, who's sitting next to Casey. And okay, yeah, this one's going to Bill, and this one's going to Jennifer. And when he hits Jennifer, she's going to be so angry because she just got a brand new, gorgeous pink dress, and now it's stained with meatball. So Jennifer is going to get super angry. She's going to have steam coming out of her ears. She's not happy anymore. She is mad, right? Yeah, that works. She is so mad that she's going to throw 3 of her meatballs. And she's going to throw them across the cafeteria over at Bill and whoever's sitting here and this guy over here. And next thing you know, everybody is throwing meatballs at everybody. And it is just chaos. And people are angry and people are getting messy. And it's just back and forth all over the place. Absolute chaos. And that's kind of what happens with a chain reaction for nuclear fission. So if we go down here to look at fission, we have our incident neutron, which is meatball 1, right? That, what was his name? Jerry decided to throw. I spelled meatball wrong. What is wrong with me? Everything. Okay, so Jerry throws meatball number 1, right? And that hits... Jerry hits Ted. So let's say this is Ted. And Ted gets really angry. This is the steam from his ears, right? And all that pent up anger, this is his anger, makes him throw 3 more meatballs. Meatballs 1, meatballs 2, 3, and 4. So those meatballs hit other people, which makes them angry. And they decide to split in half and throw even more meatballs. And it just progresses in this chain reaction. And that's what's happening between nuclear fuel in the process of fission. And that anger produces heat, which creates energy. And that's how we make energy from nuclear fuel. Thanks, guys.